Good morning, ninth grade classes. This is Mrs. Poland. I'm here to give you a brief lesson on MLA and text citation and signal phrases. This is a review. We have talked about this in the past when we did in-depth lessons on both topics. So if you need more in-depth information, please make sure to refer back to any materials that your teachers may have given you. Today we're going to start off with looking at a question regarding MLA and text citations. So the first question here we have is, which of the following lines taken from page 88 of Looking for Alaska, a novel by John Green, has proper MLA and text citation formatting? Take just a second. If you need to, pause this video and come up with what answer choice you think is correct. So we have answer C. Hopefully this is what you came up with. And on the following slides, I'm going to explain why this is the correct answer. So in MLA format, notice there is no period immediately after the quote. Instead, the period is placed at the end of the page citation outside of the parentheses. I know when we were talking about this before, a lot of students had questions about what if there's a question mark or an exclamation mark, then include those ending marks within the quote, but still use the period at the very end of the citation. We have it just like this down here. So we have our question mark, which is part of the actual quote, and then we also put our period here at the end. Now that we've talked about that, I want to go into a little bit about signal phrases. Often students want to just kind of drop these quotes in their research essays. However, we cannot do that. We need to use a signal phrase. So what is a signal phrase? A phrase that leads into a quote or a paraphrase. It requires speaker/author's name and title of the piece, indication as to why they are considered reliable. So remember, when I had you do your annotations, you were required to also look at the author's credentials. The reason for that is you can actually use this information to show your reader that your sources are reliable because your authors are reliable. You'll need a power verb and context of the quote/paraphrase if it's necessary. This may not always be necessary, especially for a research type essay, but that is something to consider. So here's an example. Sarah Smith, New York Times columnist and author of Using Signal Phrases, explains the best way to introduce a quote is to use a signal phrase. Why do I need a signal phrase? Shows your audience you are introducing an outside source, prevents the dropped quotes that we were talking about earlier. A sentence can never be just a quote. Proves you found your evidence from a reliable source. Requirements. Speaker/author's name and title of the piece. So you need their full name, indicate any important title they hold, Dr. Johnson, John Johnson, PhD, Senator Johnson, President Johnson. These are all examples of this. Title of the article, book, etc. Articles are in quotation marks. Long works like books or newspapers are in italics. Another requirement, indication as to why they are considered reliable. So you may be doing this simply through their job title. This may be something like Robert Campbell, author for the New York Times, so we're showing what source they write for. Or life experience, Robert Campbell, a lawyer with 20 years of experience. So another requirement is a power verb. So here are some examples. And I am going to provide a list on Google Classroom for you that's going to give you some examples of these power verbs that you can use in your signal phrases, but this is a full example. You'll notice right here in green is our power verb. It's asserts. So we have Sarah Smith, New York Times columnist and author of Using Signal Phrases, asserts that the best way to introduce a quote is to use a signal phrase. Okay, so that's all for today. If you have any questions, make sure to contact your teachers. They'll be available during class hours on Google Meet, or also through email during school hours. Reach out to them and they would be happy to help you. Everybody stay safe, stay in, and stay healthy. Bye.